Hi guys, my name is Yanni and my midterm presentation is going to be on exploring stereotypes. So a stereotype as defined by the nearest dictionary is a widely held but fixed and oversimplified image or idea of a particular type of person or thing. So basically, a stereotype is just kind of like a generalization about a group. Stereotypes can be both positive or negative, but in this project, I'm going to go over some of the more negative consequences that stereotypes can bring. Okay. So before I get into all of that, I'm going to quickly talk about why we as human beings stereotype. I'm actually a psychology major, and this is really cool for me because the reason why actually derives from a psychology term. It's called the social learning theory, and it basically means that people learn things through observation and copying the behaviors around them. This can be seen and especially in young children. So one example would be, those commercials where there's a little boy who wants to be just like his dad. So he'll pretend to shave and he'll pretend to drink coffee and he'll read the paper just like his dad. The same thing goes for stereotyping. That kid is more likely to have the same thoughts that his dad has, and the same stereotypes that his dad created, he will probably have too. Another reason why we stereotype is because we are cognitively programmed to group information together in order to organize everything in our brain. And this process is something that we can't control, and sometimes that information that we group together can be really inaccurate. It creates a thought in our heads that just because we saw one thing, that everything else with the similar traits are the same, when they're completely not. So now getting into the negative consequences stereotypes bring. Sometimes stereotyping can lead to certain stigmas about groups of people that aren't actually true. And one example of that can be found in the mental illness community. So mental illnesses have a huge range in severity and type and all of that. But oftentimes, almost all mental illness patients are labeled as crazy or violent or bizarre or dangerous, when it's honestly just a select few of people that are actually like that. It creates a stigma that all of them are like that when there's completely not the case. So for those people who aren't anything like that certain stigma, it lowers their self-esteem and it heightens their depression rate. And all in all, in the end, they are more likely to commit suicide because everybody treats them like they're completely crazy or bizarre or dangerous and all of that. Another example of a stereotype creating the stigma is the one that says that only men can work in math, the science, and technological based fields because they are masculine careers, which is completely absurd, right? Because of this, girls are less likely to major in those majors, and they really don't live up to this potential. According to Verizon and Makers, 66% of girls in the fourth grade said they were interested in math and science, yet only 18% of girls majored in engineering in college. And that can be seen in the video that I have linked aside from the one here. So stereotypes in the end can also cause prejudice and discrimination. So prejudice is a preconceived opinion that is not based on actual experience or knowledge. Discrimination is when someone in a particular group is treated unfairly for being in that group. So for example, stereotype that inner city kids are uneducated makes it less likely for educators in school to focus on those students. I don't know if you've ever noticed how budget cuts in school districts usually come out of inner city schools rather than schools anywhere else. More teachers, counselors, or faculty are laid off from those schools than any other schools, which is funny because in reality, the students in those schools need them the most. So another example is a stereotype that all women belong at home rather than in the workforce. And because of this, it creates a huge glass ceiling where women are discriminated against heavily in the workforce, and they have to work significantly harder to succeed compared to men. In conclusion, I think that stereotyping, though it is something that we humans are pretty much hardwired to do, is also something that we can change and fix. By being aware and taking the time to really process whether our thoughts are accurate or just some random generalization that we didn't really think through, we can decrease the many negative consequences that stereotyping can bring. Okay? Okay, that's the end of my presentation. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me, I guess. I don't know. Bye.